welcome again to the channel called The Lively. Today's topic is cycle of life and death, and so this is where I'm just going to discuss this matter, cycle of life and death. So look over here, this is called the cycle of the life. So what happens, sometimes there is a fresh rebirth, or sometimes there is a fresh birth. What do you mean by this one? That means the person is newly born. As per the his Akashic guidelines, that means one may trust this phenomena rebirth or reincarnation. One may already take it to be null and void, but whatever it may be. But there is some evidence that there can be some rebirth also, reincarnation also, according to all the ongoing religions and the scriptures and all the things. If you can take the considerations of from the and reference from the Buddhism also. So there is called a birth. The person is just newly born on this earth. It's a birth. There is some karmic field, as we all know. For such cases, the person has to born on the earth. Okay, the animal or the plant has to born on this earth. So there is a birth, and what after the birth? After there is some, the person is right now a child. Okay, and after a certain point of time, it reaches this puberty, adolescent. Thereafter, he becomes completely young adult. This is a fully matured one. Fully matured one. And after some point, he reaches his middle age, 45 to 50 years of the age, becomes aged, more than 60 years of the age. And there is a date. This date becomes timely due to his senescence and due to his increasing of the age when the organ functions are impaired normally. So this is called a programmed death. There is some, he enters after from the death, he enters into the afterlife. Someone believes in the afterlife and someone not. That means his spirit, the souls and the spirits, these are indestructible. They enters into the afterlife, the body decays and it passes away. From the afterlife, through the path of the smoke, they can again enter into the cycle of the birth and the death. That means that they can be reborn on this earth, or there means reincarnation of the great souls on this earth. But this is the in short and brief the cycle of the life and the death. So what happens, in the birth, there is when is the womb, the mother's womb, there is lots of energies in the mother's womb because there is some organogenesis, organ formations. The new organs is supposed to be formed. So there is the vitality forces is too much, in this state. In the birth, there is extraembryonic some kind of development. That means the body is going to develop much more to become fully matured adult. So the vitality and lively forces are lots of that. If there is some kind of disease, that means the energy has been blocked. So this kind of energy blockages have been found in those cases. So energy medicines and the hand-handling therapy has lots of things to do in this way. If the person is disabled, mentally retarded, that means there is some energy blockage. There is some karmic hindrances. For such instances, the energy has been blocked. So in this way, energies can be given to restore these element or the things. And when you become the child, there is some kind of the organ maturity at this stage also. In become the puberty, there is some sexual growth, tremendous sexual growth, as because he's going to be either a male or a female. And if there is the organ of the center of the creation, so the organ of the creations are not properly working, that means the blockage, and there is some typical blind loop of the energies that can be some transgender also. So in this way, if the person has to fully mature, if we provide the energies since the birth, if there is any kind of chance of becoming a transgender or any kind of organ immaturity, this can be avoided also. So puberty, and from puberty he enters into the domain of the youth, so he becomes completely young. So in these cases, what can happen, in this way, the person is completely mature and able to recreate and procreate. That means he is able to become a parent. He is able to give birth to a child. So fully mature adult. Okay, there is some, in this way, there is some increased growth of the energy and all kind of bodily functions. But ultimately this stops, our growth stops, and this way we have to regain. There is some decay of the energy starts after we reach at least the age of the 40 years. From 25 to 40, there is the stability of the energy. After the 40 years, it becomes decay, and we reaches that the body functions becoming weak and weak day by day, and which reaches states called the middle age. Okay, 45 to 60 years, or 55 years. Thereafter, there is a much more decay of the energy, will become aged. Thereafter there will be some timely death also. That means the organs functions become impaired one by one, step by step, and we approaches death, and there is once upon a time that death also, biologically also, and in this cycle of the life and death also. But what happens the day that our physical body that is degraded and destroyed by means of the cremations, and thereafter with the spirit that is indestructible that enters into the domain of the afterlife. It resides in the afterlife for a certain period of the time. Thereafter it can go to the universal soul system. That means the universal soul or the super soul or the absolute spirit return back to them also. Or it can, if there is some form of karma, he has to come back to the earth again. He has to enter into the domain. It will be several times. That means the person has some misdeeds, some wrong deeds, he have to suffer for that punishment. He can be born again. Or the person has some incomplete actions, he has to take birth and complete those actions again. So in this way, the circle of the life and death goes on, and this energy phenomena in this way goes on also. There is some increase, there is some stability, there is some decay and impact, and if there is any kind of energy blockage or some, there is formation of the disease also in this way. Okay, and this normal phenomena, if this energy expenditure and this energy gain, if it's not had normally spontaneous, that means there is some kind of the diseases also. So transmission of the energy and from birth to death, we have already discussed it. And what's called the afterlife. Afterlife is the condition after the death. You can follow the Egyptian religion also. They also say that there is some kind of the afterlife. It is true that when the person dies, he enters in the domain of the afterlife. He resides there for some time. Okay, and the afterlife should be very, very good. You know, sometimes with the misdeeds, the afterlife is not so well. And what happens in the afterlife? When the soul passes away, does it really at that time enter into a new birth of the cycle? No. And go to the absolute spirit where it came? No. It entered into the domain of the afterlife. And in the afterlife, he has to also suffer from the punishment, you know. If he has done some good, the afterlife will be very much happy. And the afterlife is not, well, the person, the soul, there is some ghost and the spirits that generally it's become a big problem of our society and of our life also. So even for the Hindu perspective also, the tribal people also praise and worship the gods, and they offer something to have a proper the prosperous and the happy afterlife. So afterlife has a very, very important and very much importance in our life. The process of the rebirth and the reincarnations. And thereafter the person has to take birth again. For a normal human, it's called a rebirth. For his super soul and a great spirit with good work, and who is the protector of all, it's called the reincarnation. Reincarnation of the Buddha, Avalokiteshvara, we know that one. The path of the light and the path of the smoke. When the person is born fresh, that's called the path. He has followed the path of the light. The science of his birth is completely like a fruitful and complete like a shining light of the sun, you know. There is no sense of the parch, there is no sense of the smog and the fog, and there is a fresh life, and all are happy with that one. And what is called the path of smoke, you know, when the person is unhappy with his life, he just wants something and some extra thing from his life, and he has to return back to his actual abode. This is called the path of the smoke, that he's not happy, and he has to return back to satisfy his all the deeds and to complete all his action that he desired and deserved once upon a time to take rebirth. This is called the path of smoke according to Hindu mythology and the Hindu beliefs. The whispers of the shadows, what we have already called. What is the whispers of the shadows? You know, whispers talks about lots of the things, and it's very much important in our life also. Whispers of the shadows. We have some kind of the desires, cravings in our life. We have some kind of expectations from our life, but there is an untimely date. We return back to the afterlife. Okay. And again we have to reborn on this earth again. The whispers of the shadows. Sometimes the shadows cause lots of things about a person's his karma, his cravings and his everything that the person has to born again on this earth. So these whispers of shadows is very much important in the Vika and Vika healing also. So just for right now, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. That's called the Life Heal. Thank you all for being with me. Thank you.